Hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Nice to have you guys here again for another breakdown on Pound USD and Pound JPY leading into this trading week. Like I mentioned in the last video, the coming week will be quite interesting and could be potentially a wild one because we have a lot of data release around the interest rate across several currencies, the chiefest of them being the US dollar. Like on Wednesday, 8 p.m. my time, there would be the FOMC statement, the Federal Funds Rate decision, and the press release by Chairman Powell. On Thursday at 1 p.m. my time, would be expecting some sort of decision from the Bank of England, and they are looking at increasing their interest rate from 3.5 to 4%, while the um, Federal Reserve are looking at increasing the interest rate from 4.5 to 4.75. It would be market moving, especially if perhaps it is increased by more than 0.25. Perhaps if it is increased by 0.5%, it should be market moving. So market moving could be either direction, but the technical price point will determine the specific entries, if you get what I mean. So yeah, it would be a wild week as well. On Friday, there is the NFP. So yeah, NFP, which is the non-farm payroll or the non-farm employment change, which has also been notorious with market movement. I think lately this ISM services number as well have had high impact with the market movement as well. So regardless, this week is um is envisaged to have a lot of volume, a lot of volatility, but that is what traders really want. So if you position yourself right, you'd be able to leverage on that volume and volatility. That being said, we'll be looking at some sort of breakdown pound USD going into this week. So this is the monthly chart for pound USD. And I'm looking at the monthly chart basically because we have 2 days left for this monthly candle to close. So the question would be, are we going to be creating a top week in the next 2 days? Or are we going to have some sort of continuation to clearly close above this week, kind of tapping into this monthly resistance? This week as well, the new monthly candle will be opening. So will the monthly candle push straight up or bars push down before continuing up? Those are just thoughts in my head. But regardless, we have 2 days for this candle to close. And what we can see currently with the most recent price action on pound USD is that we are basically pushing up from historical low price points, and we are approaching a level of resistance on the monthly time frame right here. So price is currently pushing up and also approaching a monthly resistance. On the weekly time frame, like I mentioned in the last video, we have also closed above this level of resistance on the weekly time frame, rejecting this level, but also kind of creating a doji candle with a lot of indecision in this specific direction. But technically, we are creating higher support on the weekly time frame with this creation of higher supports, and we're also breaking resistances. So basically, we are doing this currently in the market. So we are pushing up, and based on this time frame, sales begin to make sense if perhaps begin to close below here or begin to close back below into this range. At the minute, it still looks like buys, even on the backdrop of the data we have for this week, regardless. So technically, it looks like buys. And will the data just be some sort of liquidity grab from here again to possibly fill this range to the upside? That is left to be seen this week. All right. So we have this monthly resistance. We also have this weekly resistance area that price could also push into. So on the daily time frame, you can also see something quite interesting right here, that where price was struggling throughout last week was failure to close above this level of resistance on the daily time frame. So we could conclude that price is currently trading within a range where the resistance is kind of around this area. The support is right here, but because this level also is acting like some sort of rejection, like if you see on 4 hour time frame, there's a level of support right here. So the range that pound USD is currently trading in is between these two levels. Okay, between this level, that means between this level right here and this level right here. As long as we stay above this level, buy still makes sense in my opinion, meaning if we don't get a candle closing back below this range on the weekly time frame and we kind of just reside in this range. So I'll be using this level as a level to pick liquidity to continue looking for buys, or better still if you get a close above this level leading to FOMC, such that the next daily candle can just pick liquidity from here as well, this area of resistance to hold as support to possibly continue up to the monthly level by the end of the week. Okay, so in summary, that was quite fast actually, but to kind of take it more slowly, price is currently trading within this range where this is the resistance, and this can be called some sort of support if you look at the 4 hour time frame. As long as we hold above this level of resistance on the weekly time frame, I will primarily still be looking for buys, only start really considering sells if I get a daily candle close below here and resistance begins to hold on the 4 hour time frame to retest whatever low is on the daily. Then I can then start to consider these other levels on the way down. Okay, so my primary bias leading to FOMC would be buys, especially if the rate increase come out as anticipated for the USD, where of course it's a rate hike, which should mean strength for the dollar, but that has already been priced in. So if it comes out as expected, you can expect a push down at the instance of the increase of the release. Then later on with the FOMC statement, if oil begin to say that they would begin to slow the pace of rate hike, so they will still keep increasing, but at a slower pace. That will be interpreted as dovish, and anything traded against the USD should continue the upward direction. All right. So basically, my FOMC play would be if the interest rate comes out as anticipated, which is 0.25 for now, then because this is an increase, it should bring strength to the USD. However, this has been priced in, so you get a push down. Powell begins to speak. If it sounds dovish around this area of support, say we are still trading within this level, we are still trading within this range leading to that time, I will primarily only be looking for 1 minute change of structures to take buys. If before the FOMC we have already closed outside of this range, and this also happens where the interest rate is just by 0.25%, the same thing, I'll be looking for some sort of downward reaction, downward movement first. And if Powell begins to speak and sound dovish, I'll be looking for a change of structure from here to take it back up. So 126 is not out of the card for next week if we get that. But if the reverse is the case, such that we are trading below this level of resistance before the FOMC, and the data comes out more than expected, with maybe with a 50 basis point hike, and Powell sounds hawkish, such that he's saying that they would not slow down their pace of interest rate hike, that there is still a lot of work to be done, especially to see some weakness in the US labor market. If it sounds in that light, then sales to cowboy sales really. If that is the case, cowboy sales with rejection from here. If we're still within the range, cowboy sales if you begin to close back below here and resistance from here. So primarily, I'll be looking for buys because, I mean, the inflation data has been showing some sort of improvement with the, it has been coming down for a while, I think for the past 4 to 5 months in the US. So I don't expect them, I might be wrong, I don't expect them to be as hawkish as increasing by 50 basis points. So if that is the case, I'll be primarily looking for buys, liquidity grabs from here, support above this level to ultimately be seeking for 1.26 going into next week. So just to look at how the 4-hour time frame looks, this is the way it looks at the minute. So if we trade also above here, leading to FOMC, this could also be a good level to seek liquidity to the upside. All right. So I hope that is clear enough. My primary bias will be buys as long as we trade above this level. I will only really start considering sells if a daily candle closes below this level. Of course, within the sessions, any sell that is taken, in my opinion, before this price would be a counter trend trade, which is highly risky, which has inherent risk. So just trade it accordingly so that you'll be willing to quickly manage the trade or move to break even as quickly as possible. Doesn't mean sales cannot happen before now, especially if you start looking at the session trades. But based on the higher time frame structure, I believe we need to close below this level first, below 123 on the daily time frame before you start looking for sales at all. So that would be my 10 cents on pound USD. On pound JPY, we are still basically in the same spot from last week where price is trading at this resistance. All right. Still respecting this resistance and ultimately this level of support right here. All right, so the level of resistance we have is between here and here. So this whole area is resistance and this whole area is support. All right, this whole area is resistance. So this is resistance and this is support. So we are still within this range and we are currently trading at this resistance area. What would give real confidence for buys, in my opinion, is if we can get a candle closing bullish above this resistance. Then we can look at a lower time frame change of structure or support within this candle to take buys, right? So buying within this area would really be um, highly risky because you are at resistance and we have not broken the resistance for quite a while. Of course, when we do break the resistance, it would actually be with a huge momentum to the upside because we know that the Bank of Japan, for instance, has still promised to keep their interest rates at negative, maybe not for long, and they are still engaging in the bond purchases, which weakens the JPY, I mean, to their own advantage. And the Bank of England as well um, is still focused, laser focused on bringing down inflation, which is still around 10% in the UK for now. So really, I think it would be wise to wait for a candle to close above this level on the daily time frame before considering buys. Doesn't mean that one could not buy before then, but that would be kind of safer in a sense. Okay, so if we look at this on the 4-hour time frame, for instance, we can see that yeah, it's just a mess really. We have this level of support right here, and the range between here and here is 164 pips. So if you look at this level of resistance, for instance, let's say you even want to attempt buys above this level, which is highly risky in my opinion, maybe with a candle closing above here on the 30 minutes, the range you have is barely 50 pips is good for a day trade, in my opinion. But just be aware that you are trading at a resistance area. Okay. So GJ for me for now still looks a little tricky, especially if you just look at the daily time frame, you realize that price is just stalling at this level of resistance. Of course, if we begin to break down and below this level, for instance, if we get a daily candle closing bearish and below this level of support on the daily time frame, then you'll be looking for resistance on the lower time frame or the next candle to play the range back to the downside. Your first target will be this weak fill, in my opinion. You watch this support on your way down and ultimately see if you can revisit 156,800 area. All right, but then you still need a candle to close below this level of support on the daily time frame. So GJ, you will need a lot of patience at this point to see how the candle closes either below this level of support or above this level of resistance before actually making safer decisions. So that's what I feel on pound JPY for now. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Am I missing something, or is there a technical price point that I should have covered within this video? I didn't want to go deeper into GJ because it doesn't make sense yet to start doing those deeper analysis on pound JPY. We are basically just trading at resistance, and I'll be careful buying into this resistance. I'll prefer at this stage if we can close above this level of resistance. Of course, during this session trades, one could take buys or sell, but just be aware of your market positioning. You're trading at a very, very risky area. So cheers and God bless. Wishing everyone a successful trading week. Have a good one, guys.